One time, a student came and wanted to talk with me. And let me call her Teresa. And after a few times talking with her, she told me about her family situation. She had a younger sister who was born with Down syndrome and with other illnesses. And this caused her family tremendous stress. She told me that lately one of the questions came to her mind was, if God is so loving, why does my sister suffer so much? How would you answer to her questions? It's a difficult question, isn't it? The question of human suffering is actually a universal question. Everyone has suffered, right? Okay, just in case, if none of you have suffered, but just in case, if you have, maybe, perhaps, just in case you have, how would you answer to her questions? If God is so loving, why does my sister suffer so much? In today's gospel, we hear the story of Jairus' family. Imagine you have a daughter, 12 years old, who's really sick, to the point of dying. What is it like to see your own daughter dying? Perhaps you try to look for any best doctors to help her. Perhaps you feel a sense of desperation and powerless, fear of losing your own daughter. Perhaps you might pray and ask her for help. What is it like to see your daughter lying on the bed and you're about to lose her? And that's the story of Jairus' family. So the father fell at the feet of Jesus and pleaded earnestly with him, saying, "My daughter is at the point of death. Please come lay your hands on her, that she may get well and live." I don't know about you, but I cannot imagine the suffering that the father, Jairus, was going through. His story reflects one of the million stories of human suffering. It raises a big question. If God is so loving, why are there so much suffering? How would God answer these questions? What is God saying to you and me today? I think God tried to tell us two messages today. One, I'm with you. Two, Talitha koum, arise. So the first one, I am with you. If you don't mind, if I ask you to repeat, I am with you. Please repeat. I am with you. Thank you. Notice during Jesus' ministry, he did not answer our question of why there's suffering in the world. He did not answer in words, but in actions. So the first action is, I am with you. I want to share suffering with you. I want to share suffering with you. Now, Jesus grew up in a time when there was a lot of chaos and suffering in the nation. Does that sound familiar to us? So much chaos and suffering in the nation. In terms of politics, the nation was under Roman Empire. Economics, the huge gap between the rich and the poor, and the majority were poor. Religious leaders was divided and tried to come up with different answers. Pharisees say law is the answer. Law is the answer to social economic problems. Follow the laws. Sadducees accept Roman occupation and adjust to the reality. Jealous, violence is the answer. Essenes, recreate authentic priestly worship in the desert. Remove yourself into the desert to avoid the suffering in life. Now, on a personal level, Jesus himself, I would imagine, has also suffered due to the personal death of his own father, Saint Joseph. How do we know that? During his public ministry, Saint Joseph never showed up. Jesus himself have experienced all types of suffering, both in a national level and personal level. So what does Jesus want to tell you and me today? I am with you. I want to share suffering with you, as St. Paul describes in the second reading today. For you know the gracious act of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, for your sake he became poor, so that by his poverty you might become rich. You know, when we are going through a tough time, if someone just be with us, we really feel so much console and care for. And that's enough for us. But for Jesus, that's not enough for him. He has a second message for us. Talitha koum, arise. If you don't mind to repeat after me. Talitha koum, arise. That's a beautiful phrase, isn't it? We can use this phrase at a cocktail party, right? Talitha koum. Talitha koum, that sounds pretty cool. Arise. When Jairus fell at the feet of Jesus and pleaded earnestly with Jesus, my daughter is at the point of death. Please come and lay your hands on her that she may get well and live. And listen to his inner voice. My daughter is dying. Please come, lay your hands. So on the way, there was another woman suffering hemorrhage for about 12 years. And unlike Jairus, she did not dare to ask Jesus, but she dared to touch him. What makes her dare to touch Jesus? St. Mark told us that she has heard about Jesus. When he saw Jesus walking by, what was going on in her mind? Is it true that God punished me because I'm sick, I may have a hemorrhage? Or God actually merciful, God can heal me? And she chose to listen to the latter, and she was healed. So while Jesus was still speaking, daughter, your faith has saved you, people from the synagogue's official house arrived and said, your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher any longer? Imagine if you were Jairus. Your daughter has died. How would you feel? Do you feel like giving up? Perhaps. Or perhaps there was another voice within him, the voice from Jesus. Do not be afraid. Just have faith. Which voice would you listen to? Giving up or have faith? And Jairus chose the latter. He continues to trust in Jesus. And Jesus came and witnessed the suffering of his family. Jesus came and witnessed and saw and heard people weeping and wailing. And both you and I know that when we lose someone we love, it's tremendous, tremendous pain. But losing 12 years old daughter, even more painful, right? Now, in the midst of our human suffering and death, Jesus took the child by the hand and said to her, Talitha koum, rise, listen, little girls, I say to you, arise. Is that such a beautiful story, right? It's such a beautiful story, but what does it have to do with you and me today? The readings today invite you and me to hear and respond to the human suffering of our time. The human suffering of our time. Lately, many immigrants, parents cry out, my children have been taken away from me. Let me share with you a few voices. One father said, today, my daughter turns 10 years old. I still don't know where my daughter is. The immigration gave me the phone number to call. I called, but they don't answer. Another mom tried to console her baby. My daughter, don't cry. Don't be sad. Don't cry. Another mom said, remember that God exists. Honey, kneel and pray to God. God will help you. I wonder how would God hear that prayers to this little daughter, little child, or even to the mom. Remember, Jairus came and begged Jesus, my daughter is at the point of death, so please come and lay your hands on her, that she may get well and live. And Jesus responded. Now today, Mary's parents came and begged Jesus, Jesus, my children are taken away from me. Please bring them back. Now, Jesus is not here. Perhaps Jesus invites you and me, the disciple of Christ. How would you and me responding to this parent's suffering? I hope and pray that we can respond the way Jesus responded. I am with you. Talitha koum, arise.